Well, hello there. Good morning again. If you're just joining us, well, you missed the news with Mapito Sibidi. But don't worry, we're here to give you a lot more news, this time in the newspapers and the online portal, myjoyonline.com. Joseph Akable is with me, except that he is virtual. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning, Mama. How are you doing?
Very, very, very well, thank you. How are you?
Not bad. We are grateful for the gift of life once again, so I'm here.
Absolutely. We should be thankful even if there isn't money in the pocket, right?
Well, yes, we are thankful, but we remain hopeful that there will be lots of money and lots of favor and grace to do all the amazing stuff we all want to do.
Hallelujah. So for Joe.
Somebody say amen, amen, amen.
Are you winning souls for Christ though? Because you have such a powerful platform.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's a great commission. We are all on that path to ensure that we bring as much souls into the house of God and ensure that the world is a better place. I mean, that's my first task to change people so that the world is a better place. Then their souls will eventually get on Christ as well.
We need to be reminding ourselves because you see, the work is not just for pastors and prophets and people who hold themselves. We're all men and women of God. You know that. So in your own little way, wherever you are, with whatever you do, you've got to put the spotlight on so that it will inspire someone to be good and to get closer to God. So now that we're clear, my son, and we're doing the right thing, let's do the newspapers.
Absolutely.
Tell us the papers you're going through, Joe.
I'll be doing the Ghanaian Times. I also have that of the Finder, the Daily Dispatch, and the BNFT as well.
All right. I will take our viewers through the Daily Graphic, Republic Press. I've got the Custodian. I've got Today newspaper, the Ghanaian Did you mention? Okay, no, the Ghanaian Publisher and the Daily Guide newspaper. So what do you say? I start with the Daily Graphic?
Absolutely.
All right, here's what's on the front page of the Graphic this morning. I'm yet to receive dockets on Swale, AG tells Parliament. So the CID of the Ghana Police Service has still not built and presented any dockets on the case involving the murder of Ahmed Swale to the Office of the Attorney General. Mr. Godfrey Yeboadami was in Parliament. We will come back and tell you a lot more of what the things he had to say yesterday. Also, Majority Leader urges bipartisan review of Petroleum Act. And there's a portion of the Botsiano Red Top Road in the Gas South municipality. I don't know if Joe is familiar with this stretch. It doesn't look like a place in Ga, as in Greater Accra. Not at all. Like, is this a place properly in Gas South in Botsiano?
Yes, it is. In fact, that particular area, it's an area that I know quite well. When you get off the main road, I mean, every other road is not tarred really. So it's really not surprising that they found a road there that is in such terrible condition.
Well, just down there's a reminder, aftermath of rain, sordid state of some roads in Accra. So if we go to page 20, which we will do a bit later on, I guess we will see a lot more of how the rains have rendered the roads. It's not the rains rendering the roads in the kind of state that we find them in. It's just the way the roads are. But the rains kind of expose the states and further opens our eyes, especially those who are expected to fix the issues. But who knows, just in case they refuse and they haven't seen, that's why the media is there. So the Daily Graphic put in the spotlight appropriately on the subject. In the center spread, Ejura committee presents report to minister, adopt appropriate technology to enhance electoral integrity. Speaker urges ECOWAS members. And the vice president has urged central banks on the continent to position themselves to adopt a digital currency in the advent of digitization. These stories in the center spread of the Daily Graphic newspaper. On the back page, the World Food Programme says millions of families in the West and Central Africa regions are going hungry this year as food prices soar. So more than 31 million people in West and Central Africa region are expected to be food insecure and unable to feed themselves during this June to August, the lean season, the period when food is scarce before the next harvest. Not good news at all. The Ghana Health Service has launched the national, this is the, okay, what word is this? More of a medical word. So let me stick to Drug Administration launched to tackle river blindness. You can read details of that story and learn about this medical term and, how this whole condition comes about and what the intention to deal with it is in the Daily Graphic newspaper. Joe?
I'll touch on the Ghanaian Times now. The front page has that story about the Ejura probe report. I will not spare offenders. That is coming from the Interior Minister, who has been assuring as he took a delivery of a report as presented by Justice George Kingsley Kumsin, who chaired that particular committee. Another angle to the story was what we did on 6 a.m. on radio this morning, with the chairman responding to issues about whether the questions that the panel had asked during the probe, the other acts of journalists, whether it was geared at impugning the work that they had done. And he said, if the regional minister comes before you and they ask the question whether the videos he had supplied were edited, if the same question is asked of a journalist, he doesn't think it should lead to the conclusion that it means that they are suggesting that the journalist did not do a good work. And so that's his response there. But some other stories here says, adhere strictly to COVID-19 safety protocols at workplaces. That is coming from the Ghana Employees Association, telling employers and employees. 2 siblings burnt to death at Mushizongo, very sad story. 59-year-old State Secrets Act under review, also on the front page of the Ghanaian Times. The back page, Ningo Pram Sea Defense War ready in November. And WFP presents 140 hermetic silos to farmers in northern region is also another story. The center spread now of the Ghanaian Times will not spare offenders is from the Interior Minister on that Ejura probe story. And there's this other story in the center spread about police impounding 394 motorcycles in Accra Soup, also in the center spread, Mavi.
All right. Let me follow that up with the Republic Press newspaper. And what we will be dealing with later this morning is on the front page. Asin North MP hot as Supreme Court throws out his application. Also, Kufuor's Olympic Stadium abandoned as project site turns criminal haven. ADB makes strides, earnings go up by about 80% in first half of 2021. New Fadama cluster of schools gets ICT center and library. On road accidents, 106 people killed in 6 months in Tema alone. And on COVID-19, antigen tests should be made available for Ghanaians to self-test. A call by Dr. Godwin Awandere. Appropriate call there. I have said that because a lot of people would report to the pharmacies for symptoms of malaria and fever and so on. You can keep preaching the message, but you have many more people walking into pharmacies. It would be good if the test was available in such places, just as you could do a malaria test real quick. We could also, do this COVID test in these places where we know Ghanaians would rather go than the hospital. On the back page is that story of the director of the West Africa Center for Cell Biology of Infectious Pathogens, Dr. Gordon Awandare's call, his recommendation that antigen tests to be made much more available in communities and even in the hospitals for rapid screening of patients and people who show up in the hospitals and clinics in the country for testing. And there's a death trap. Paper is putting the spotlight on this. It says students and teachers of at CRV Wanyago MA Primary School in the Kata municipality in the Volta region are in constant fear of crossing a river on a dilapidated wooden footbridge before walking over a kilometer to access a junior high school on a daily basis. A concerned teacher, Mr. Kennedy Hateka, who spoke to the Republic Press, lamented the unavailability of accommodation and electricity in the community, explaining the teachers who teach in the school live in neighboring communities, which is more than a kilometer walk from the school. So apart from that, you'd see the footbridge, and this is what they're expected to cross every day. This is horrible. This is like, this is coming down the next minute. You never know. Joseph, did you see the video of somebody, and this happened in Kumasi, somebody warning, he was taking the video and also admonishing people to be careful and to move slowly on the bridge. And minutes, this is barely, the bridge went down with those walking on it at that particular moment, everybody going down and the water sweeping them away in the process. This is like that video that I saw.
I think the picture, the paper got the caption absolutely right. I mean, death trap, that's what it is. Really.
Wow. Well, again, sometimes we know that leaders are expected to know, just so they haven't seen it. The paper is put in the spotlight and we're talking about the subject matter. So we hope that the Assembly would quickly fix this issue. That's it for the Republic Press. Joe, more papers?
Yes, the Finder newspaper now. Digital currency is the way to go in boosting economic growth. Is coming from Dr. Mahmoud Baumia. And boss to pay 9.9 million cedis plus 30% annual interest since 2011 to Husk Oil as judgment debts. And Newmont to invest $850 million into approved Ahafo North projects. NPP Code of Conduct spells out severe sanctions, including expulsion. And still on expulsion issues, the NDC has expelled Koku Anyidoho from the party. And it's led to lots of discussion on social media. I'm sure you've seen people bring back that video of Mr. Mahama when he was president, in that interview with Paul Adomotri of Metro TV, where he said the president, the then NPP candidate, he described him as very intolerant, and that if you disagree with him in his party, you are suspended or sacked from the party. And people have gotten back to make the point that is it the case that he's also equally as intolerant as he had accused the then NPP candidate of being. But Mr. Anido has been tweeting scriptures. I'm sure you've seen it already. He was talking about me, Joseph. And when Joseph's brothers sold him into slavery, and they thought that they were taking him away from the dream because of what they had heard about the dream, not knowing they were actually taking him to fulfill his dream.
Yeah.
And so Koko Anido will be prime minister. I know we don't have the prime minister in Ghana, but I guess in the spiritual.
Is that like a revelation?
That's what he said.
Okay, I thought you were
Joseph,
seeing that these days you've been evangelizing,
My spiritual gifts have not reached there yet.
Okay. All right. Okay, I mean, it's time, isn't it? Time will tell.
Yeah. But some other stories on the Finder, quickly on the front page. 110 billion SOEs post 586.4 million losses in 2019. A 10% return on the assets can generate 1 billion cedis and can create more than 700,000 public and civil service jobs. And so there's some analysis that the Finder is doing there about what ought to be the situation if things are handled right. The center spread has that story about a digital currency being the way to go, and also why Ghana needs an indigenous shipping line. It's also in the center spread. I mean, I remember many years ago and we read about it in the history books, the Black Star Line. I mean, we're in 2021 and we are writing articles on why we need an indigenous shipping line. That's how far and back we keep moving. Over to you.
I guess the question is, do we really?
It's a question for the gods.
Let's do the Today newspaper front page. Fix the country demonstration in danger. August 4th March faces COVID-19 public gathering ban. My former editor Richmond Kielson writes this one, and he says the much touted hashtag Fix the Country demonstration on August 4 faces another jolt of being called off. An impeccable source within the security agencies has hinted at Today newspaper. The source further disclosed that the likely curtailment of the march is not premeditated, but an inevitable decision that is being induced by a force majeure, the scourge in COVID-19 cases, and its related dreadful Delta variant in the country. Another twist to the hashtag Face the Country demonstration. I guess in the coming hours, this would certainly, I don't know, is this the first time, Joseph, that you're hearing of this? I mean, it occurred to me, but
Absolutely.
I didn't think that we will come to this.
Absolutely. It's the first time I'm hearing this. And the real irony of this particular development is the fact that when the group intended to embark on a demonstration on May 9, we're told that we are in the COVID era and that they can't demonstrate because it will threaten people and lead to the spread of the virus. And subsequently, the NDC was allowed to stage a protest in this same COVID-19 era. And then we are back to the point of that reference again, if the story from the paper is anything to go by. And so it's a very interesting twist. Of course, the difference really is that the cases are spiking, but the fact of COVID-19 being in existence was never lost on anyone when we decided to allow the NDC to protest. And so, I mean, I'm not sure this is a development that the Fix the Country campaigners will take lightly at all. I mean, they've waited for far too long to want to hit the streets and demonstrate.
Absolutely, of course. So if this is, because it says deep source, and it continues to say that the source who pleaded non-disclosure of identity further disclosed that from the perspective of the security forces, it will be a breach of duty call to allow for the march to go ahead as scheduled within the context of the fresh ban on public gathering. There isn't a fresh ban, is there? There isn't a fresh ban.
No,
It's just
the
what's
same
been in
ban that has
place.
always been in force.
Oh my God. All right, let me go through the rest of the headlines on the front page of the Today newspaper. Government replies ASEPA over removal of Chief Justice. We'll get into details of that in a bit. MP supports 34 schools with radio sets and others. On the back page, some sports stories. Tokyo Olympics boxer Suleiman Tete defeats Rosa Rodrigo. That's such a big one for us in Ghana. Black Queens on course for 2022. Women's Africa Cup of Nation qualifiers, according to the head coach, Messi Tego Kweko. Details of that. And then Kotoko paid over 10,000 Ghana cedis per match in Obuasi. That's a revelation by its Chief Executive Officer, Nanayao Amponsa. People, even within the management or the board or something, and they're not too excited about his management style. Joseph Akable, this is your party. I was hearing some disgruntled voices over the last couple of days. I thought, you guys always said that you are rich, you have this, you have that, you have that. We didn't expect that there would be such noises in your camp. But you're unstable after all.
Really. I mean, it's not noise. I mean, the fact of the matter is, and I think that's the substantive story, is about the works that is ongoing on the Baba Yara Stadium, which is set to be completed soon. I mean, yes, it explains why. So, in effect, Kotoko played the whole season without actually playing at its actual home venue.
Massa.
And that accounted for our performances as well. I mean, so we are hoping that Baba Yara will be available eventually and will be able to win.
Also, you're also trying to find excuses. Yes, it's Subai, it's saying insane. Shumutaya. As it is brewing and you people are trying to cover it, we'll see. On that note, let me say good morning to Papa Koakwe. A very good morning to you, sir. Still phobia. He would threaten to put his TV off.
Yeah, you can put it off. We will still be on air anyways.
Let me do the Daily Guide newspaper on the front page. It says, Ejura mayhem, report ready, sack MC, punish soldier. So the thing is, it was presented yesterday. We all don't know what is contained in that report, but some people claim they've got some portions of the report. And that's where this news is coming from, that there is a recommendation for the MC to be sacked and the soldier that led the operation on the ground to also be punished. I think for most of us, our disappointment was the fact that when it comes to the operation itself, the lead person, we didn't see the person appear before the committee to also give testimony. I don't know, Joseph, do you have the report?
No, I have not secured a copy of the report yet, but we look forward to seeing that. I'm surprised that if the headline is anything to go by, how about the regional minister?
Because
I mean, the MTE's only involvement was just in the local politics of it. The fact that the claim had been that there were some bodyguards of his who may have been involved in the whole fracas with, Kaka that led to his death. But he has since denied that before the committee, and so I'm not too sure. He himself withdrew his nomination to the process that was leading to selection of new MCs, and so clearly he was not one that was going to be retained anyways, and so I'm wondering what his connection would be for them to make such a recommendation, and what the recommendation would be with regards to the regional minister who decided to deploy the soldiers and all what we saw happen.
Well, we wait to see. Hopefully we can all lay hands on the report and share with our viewers. Nana attends Education Summit in the UK. UG gets first female VC. ECOWAS Speaker Lord's Government for ICT Development. Let's do the center spread of the paper, which has the News One pullout. An allegation that controversial dancehall artist Shatta Wale had sex with celebrated actress Emilia Brobe was all over social media 2 weeks ago. Was it? I'm not sure I heard this, but hey, if you don't follow, you will not know. So apparently, Emilia Brobe is chasing Shatta Wale's girl over those allegations. Details of that, if you're a Konsa person, then you want to grab and read details of this. Some of us, we will walk up us. So there are some other entertainment stories in the center spread of the paper that you might want to check out if you're interested. That's it for the paper on the back page. Today, are you target?
I see some Black Sheriff story. It's an important story, Omabi.
Okay, all right. Where's that?
It's the
Black Sheriff rebuked by UPSA lecturer for wearing earrings. Oh, so the newest. Okay, let me just read a bit of it. The newest sensation in Ghana's music industry has been asked to remove his earrings. According to a report, level 100 students of the University of Professional Studies Accra, went to school in earrings, and unfortunately for him, a lecturer saw him. When the lecturer asked why he's in earrings as a man, his friend, who was believed to be recording the incident, tried to tell the lecturer that he is a popular musician. The friend explained to the lecturer that he's a Black Sheriff, the newest sensation in Ghana music, and that the likes of Sarkodie even post him. Hey, this explanation didn't move the lecturer, who insisted he should remove the earrings because even Sarkodie doesn't wear earrings. He also referred him to go and read the school's dressing code. We won't allow it. Go and read. We have a dress code.
There's actually a video. I saw the video. Yesterday, and it was very funny. The justification that the friend was given. The friend was like, "Charlie, this is Black Sheriff. This is Black Sheriff. He's a big guy." The lecturer was like, "Oh, really?" Yes, eh?
I like the way I said, even Sarkodie post him.
He said, "Oh, but Sarkodie doesn't wear earrings."
Young people of today, when you go to school, do what school rule says you should do, not what you think. If you think you're a celeb, do it in your backyard, not on campus. I like it. All right, that's it for the Daily Guide. You have some more papers?
Yes, I have the Dispatch. The front page of the Dispatch has the story about the Ministry of National Security's new focus, balancing the protection of the state and promoting human rights. Has a photograph of one of
that's on paper or that's in practice?
That is in paper, and that is what they are seeking to do in practice as well.
Okay.
Obeda Samoa on the challenges of democracy is also on the front page, and Court of Appeal dismisses applications of NDC 2 MPs, and ECOWAS meeting on telecoms and development starts at Winneba, also on the front page. The back page has this story about the Ministry of National Security's new focus, and ECOWAS meeting on telecoms is also on the back page there. Some other story on page 11. I think it's one story that you indicated we'll be paying attention to later on. The Court of Appeal dismissing the applications of Asin North and Jomoro MPs. The Cape Coast High Court is expected to deal with an aspect of one of the cases today, that involving the Asin North MP. And so that is one to look out for. The other page, okay, so those are the main stories from the Daily Dispatch.
Okay. I guess we have to go into details of some of the papers. I did promise to do a bit of what's in the Republic no, this is Today newspaper on government's response to ASEPA. So this is on page 3. It says the office of the president says some processes had already commenced prior to being petitioned for the possible removal of the Chief Justice, Kwesi Enin Yeboah, over his alleged role in the $5 million bribery allegation. The response was contained in a letter to the civil society organization, Alliance for Social Equity and Public Accountability, which had petitioned the president to invoke provisions of Article 146 to commence impeachment proceedings against the Chief Justice. And it says the presidency's action will therefore be in line with Article 146. Okay, just wanted to go to the point where the statement signed by Secretary to the President, Nana Asante-Bediatuo, the office said it had officially received the petition and had initiated processes to act on it. Okay, so there's a lot more to that letter on page 3. Joseph, I don't know if you've read this ahead and you know the exact processes. Did they outline what the processes are?
It's actually put together the story for my Joy Online. It's the lead story on my Joy Online. It's led our 6 a.m. bulletin as well, and it explains what the procedure is. And so what happens is that ASEPA had actually petitioned Shraj, and after petitioning Shraj, he also petitioned the presidency. And the point they make in simple terms is that the CJ is not fit to hold office because the allegations that have been leveled against him are of a serious nature that requires that, if for nothing, he ought to step aside and allow the probe to go, because, I mean, his conduct or the allegations against him has affected the reputation of the judiciary. And so that was the basis for that application. And they said constitutional provision that the constitutional process is to explain in that my Joy Online story as well, that for such a petition, that is for the removal of the Chief Justice, the President shall, acting in consultation with the Council of State, appoint a committee consisting of 2 justices of the Supreme Court, one of whom shall be appointed chairman by the President, and 3 other persons who are not members of the Council of State, nor members of Parliament, nor lawyers. And this committee will inquire into the petition and recommend to the President whether the Chief Justice ought to be removed from office. And all proceedings under this particular provision will be held in camera. And the CJ will have the option of defending himself, or he can choose to do so through a lawyer or any expert of his choice. And then even before the petition process terminates, the president, under the clause 10, has the right to decide to suspend the Chief Justice or not. And so once the petition was sent to the presidency, through the secretary of the presidency, responded, indicating that they had taken delivery of the petition, and that they are informing the petitioner, that is ASEPA, that they have set in motion this particular process already. And so we all look forward to what the outcome will be, but that is it by way of the latest on this particular story.
All right, for the rest of it, go to myjoyonline.com, as we're showing you on our page. And Joseph wrote this one. It's on myjoyonline.com. Joe, is there a story that you want to highlight before we go?
I think the Asin North story is very interesting. There is a bit of a development yesterday. You know, they had tried to get some process through at the Supreme Court yesterday to halt what would happen at the High Court today. But the Supreme Court drew the lawyers' attention that they should have made that application actually at the High Court. And once it was refused, they would now refer it to the Supreme Court for interpretation of those provisions. In simple terms, it has to do with this thorny issue of allegiance. At what point can one be said to have renounced his allegiance? Is it when the renunciation certificate comes in, or is it prior, when you commence the process? Because the arguments the lawyers are making is that, look, the date for the renunciation certificate may have been after he had filed the documents and gone through the process, but once he had started it, it's a question of fact, and he was no longer a citizen. But the judge will be determining that this morning. And the interesting thing is that when the Supreme Court declined to deal with the matter, and they had to now withdraw it for it to be struck out, a private citizen just yesterday again filed a different process. And that process is simply asking the Supreme Court that, look, you are the Supreme Court, you have the power to interpret such matters. And the interesting thing is that the Supreme Court is actually on vacation. And so what we expect to happen today is that the lawyers will refer the High Court judge to the fact that the process has just been filed, and so he can't proceed. And I guess we all know what the outcome of that will be.
We'll see how that one goes. Joseph, thanks a lot. Enjoy the rest of the day. We will see you, God willing, tomorrow, yeah?
You too.
All right. That's it for the review segment here on the AM show. Log on to myjoyonline.com where we have plenty of stories, including what we just discussed, the Asin North Member of Parliament's issue, which we will be discussing extensively here on the show this morning. There's also Kokwa Nyidoho, who's been expelled from the party. They say whatever is in his possession, he must produce to the party. There's the Attorney General's updates on the investigations of some murders, and I think significantly is where the Attorney General talks about the Ahmed Swale issue. What is the front page headline in the Daily Graphic newspaper, where he says he's yet to receive dockets on the Swale matter. So you can read the stories for yourselves. Up next, we'll bring you sports. After that, we'll bring you AM business, and then we'll get talking on some of the big issues. Stay with us.